The ger in every parsha, parsha Tzav. Interesting story in the Midrash Rabbah about Rav Yanai. Just jump right in. Rav Yanai, who was traveling on the way when he saw a certain man who was elegant in the extreme. There's a footnote here on that translation, elegant in the extreme, and it says, the man was humble in the extreme. This is an alternative translation according to Imre Yosher and Eitz Yosef and Matnas Kahuna. Rav Yanai said to him, "Please give heed to us, i.e. to me, my master, and be accepted as a guest to eat with us." The man said to him, "Yes, I accept the invitation." So Rav Yanai brought him into his house, fed him, and gave him to drink. Rav Yanai tested his guest in Scripture, and he did not find him to be knowledgeable. He tested him in Mishnah, and he did not find him to be knowledgeable. He tested him in Agada, and he did not find him to be knowledgeable. He tested him in Talmud, and he did not find him to be knowledgeable. Rav Yanai said to him, "Take a cup of wine and recite Berchas Hamazon," the benediction after we eat. The man said to him, "Let Yanai recite Berchas Hamazon in his own house." Rav Yanai then asked him, "Are you able to repeat after me what I say to you?" The man said to him, "Yes, I am." Rav Yanai said to him, "Say as follows: the dog ate the bread of Rav Yanai." The man arose, grabbed Rav Yanai, and held him firmly and said to him, "My inheritance is in your possession, for you are withholding it from me." Rav Yanai asked him, "And what inheritance of yours is in my possession?" And the man said to him, "One time I was passing by a school, and I heard the voices of the children saying, Torah tziva lanu Moshe merasha kehilas Yaakov, that the Torah that Moshe commanded us is the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob." Now the inheritance of the congregation of Yanai is not said here. Rather, the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. After conceding that his guest's rebuke was warranted, Rav Yanai began a new conversation. Change the subject. Rav Yanai asked him, "Why have you merited to eat at my table?" Sounds like a pretty arrogant thing to say to somebody, doesn't it? The guest answered him, "In all my days I have never heard a bad word spoken by one person about another and reported it back to the person being spoken of. And I have never seen two people quarreling with each other and not made peace between them." Rav Yanai said to him regretfully, "There exists within you such a large degree of Derech eretz, and yet I called you a dog." There's a footnote here. It says, the term Derech eretz, literally the way of the land, is used here to refer to a manner of behavior that is proper, but not necessarily obligated by halacha. Growing up in America as a young Christian boy in a Christian family, manners was stressed to me, and maybe it was just my upbringing and my particular situation, but I think probably a lot of other people had the same experience, that manners, see, in Christianity, the law, it's an antinomian religion, meaning they don't follow any laws. There's no laws for Christianity. Matter of fact, their whole religion is based on getting out from under the yoke of the law, and and shirking the responsibility of the law. So when I was growing up and not having any laws to learn, manners took the place of that. And so manners were the laws that we had. And manners were like, you say yes, please. To strangers, you say yes, sir, yes, ma'am. You address them properly. Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so. You never use somebody's first name. To be on a first name basis with somebody was to have a more intimate relationship. You open the door for people. You're courteous. You you speak when spoken to. There's just a lot of things, especially at the dinner table when eating. There's a refined way to eat. There's an animalistic way to eat. All these things were manners and etiquette, common human decency, and that's what we're referring to here. And he says, Rav Yana applied to his guests the following verse, Vasam the way, I will show him the salvation of God, which as above may be interpreted to mean one who appraises his ways has enormous value. The ways being Derech eretz. It goes on to say, Rav Yishmael bar Rav Nachman said, Derech eretz preceded the Torah by 26 generations. If you go back, the Torah, 26 generations, we come to Adam. So basically what it's saying is that Derech eretz started when man was created. Okay? And Torah didn't show up in the world until 26 generations after Derech eretz was already in the world. And we're going to see that this is illustrated by the verse, thus it is written, to guard the way of the tree of life in Genesis 3:24. Remember, the Abishur put a cherub or a cheruv in front of the way and a flaming sword, two-sided flaming sword. And this was to guard the way, not the tree of life. It was to guard the way to the tree of life. And it says this is an allusion to Derech eretz, the way, Derech eretz, the way to the tree of life. Eretz is also ratzon, lashon, ratza, yeah, I think to the will, to desire. And only afterward the tree of life, only afterward the tree of life is mentioned, after Derech eretz. So Derech eretz comes before the tree of life, right? In order to get to Torah, you have to traverse the way to Torah. The way to Torah is common human decency, manners, etiquette. And we're going to see here that there's a commentary here which was interesting that I wanted to mention. It says that our sages say there, I believe it's in Pirkei Avos, that if there is no Torah, there is no Derech eretz. Rabbeinu Yonah commentary Adlo explains that one who is not knowledgeable in Torah will not have excellent character traits, as most good character traits are taught by the Torah. For example, the laws of returning collateral to a poor man, the requirement to give gifts to one's Hebrew servant who is departing his employ, the obligation to have fair and honest balances, and many other laws in the Torah that deal with interpersonal relationships teach us how to act in an ethical and moral way. Without Torah, one's character traits and one's morality will never be completely correct. Conversely, though, our sages say there as well, if there is no Derech eretz, there is no Torah. This means, explains Rabbeinu Yonah, that before one can expect Torah to be part and parcel of his personality, he must rectify his own character traits, as the Torah will not take up residence in the personality of one who is not a mensch. It is impossible to first learn and then just expect to acquire decency and good character traits. One must first be a mensch for the Torah to have any permanence in his personality. Rav Aaron Kotler makes a related point. Some have a tendency to denigrate the requirements of elementary decency, thinking that they are relatively unimportant vis-a-vis one's spiritual state. Our sages tell us here that this is not so. Rather, a prerequisite of success in spiritual endeavors is decency, proper comportment, and making sure things are done properly with propriety. So, this is something that has just bugged me to no end, because growing up I had a very high standard of Derech eretz taught to me and instilled into me by my parents, and it was exhibited. It wasn't just in word, it was an example also. And then I converted to Judaism, and I started to meet people from other countries, Jews from other countries. And I came to a city where there was a lot of influx and tourism of Jews from other countries and Jews from Israel. And it's a known thing, and this is not something that I first heard amongst Goyim. This is something that I first heard and saw and witnessed among Jews. And that is, it's a known thing that Israelis are known for being rude and having a lack of derech eretz. And I'll say the same thing about ghetto, Ashkenazi, European Jews. They also do not have a refined derech eretz character. Now, a lot of them are very good at Shulchan Aruch, and they can tell you the fine details of the law, but there's something called Avul Bereshus HaTorah, a scoundrel in the parameters of Torah, meaning you can keep the Torah perfectly and still be a jerk, still be somebody that has no manners, no etiquette, and no derech eretz. And that is a problem. That's a huge problem, because it brings a big blasphemy against God, and it's a chilul Hashem, and it causes the goyim, who are more refined in many cases, to blaspheme in God and say these are supposed to be the people of God, these are supposed to be the chosen people, and this is how they act. And I'm actually leaving for Israel. For the first time I'm going to Israel, and I have a lot of anxiety, let's put it that way, for several reasons. Doesn't help that bombs are dropping in the Golan. Doesn't help the rhetoric that's being thrown around by so-called rulers of countries, and the threats and posturing and flexing that is like a schoolyard bully beatdown is, it's just disgusting, and it's disheartening for somebody who's looking for geula and peace for mankind. We still haven't figured out as humanity that you don't kill ideology and ideas with bombs and bullets and fists and blood. And, I just want to see things change, man. I want to see people act decently, and this is something that's common to everybody, and this is why I'm relating it to the ger, is because before the Torah even came, and before there was even such a thing as Jew, there was mankind and common human decency, and that's what we need to get back to. And as Jews, if you have Torah and you have no common human decency, your Torah is bupkis. It's nisht. You don't have Torah. You're deluding yourself. You're fooling yourself. You've lied to yourself. You don't have Torah. Torah has to be combined with derech eretz. And if you think you have derech eretz, and you think you got it figured out, and you're perfect, and you're just the perfect polite human being, and you don't have Torah, then you also haven't figured it out. You're also lacking. The two have to be combined. So we have to guard. It's man's job to guard the way to the tree of life. And we need to point it out and show people the way to the tree of life, and be a light like that flaming sword, revolving flaming sword. So this has been the ger in every parsha. Good Shabbos.